we start ask questions?
Wait, so let me repeat then what you said before. You said any deposits are by Bitcoin, and also I presume USD and other things. Any kind of deposits after the hack are not going to be haircut. So what timestamp do you have for the hack in determining this cutoff?
I don't have the cutoff yet. I sent a question to Phil asking, but he hasn't gotten back to me yet. And fiat deposits, we've already sent a few of those back from people that have sent us after the hack. So yeah, fiat deposits as well.
Okay, and I think the immediate sort of question that I think a lot of people have right now, because these are being spread across all assets, you now have a massive BTC shortfall, and you've going to haircut LTC, Ethereum, ETC, and the fiat deposits that were already on there. So does that mean that you have to go into the market, OTC or otherwise, and acquire the Bitcoin to fill the gap?
You're talking to the wrong guy. I really don't know any of the details of how we're going to have to deal with the settling of balances. Phil is the guy who's handling all that, and he's too busy handling it to spend time to explain to me how everything's gonna go out. So we'll have an explanation and an announcement that's coming up. They've been preparing that, but I haven't seen it, so I have no idea.
But the idea is to make it so that the haircut is swift and that people can withdraw up to at least the amount that after the haircut can get out of that in however they need to. Like it's not restricted beyond the haircut, right?
Sorry, what's not restricted? Oh, so you're saying, yeah, that people can withdraw what would be left after the haircut as soon as possible. Yes, we're trying to move forward with that, so that people can start, withdraw as soon as possible.
Right, and so basically it's going to be in phases. So this 24 to 48 hour timeline, phase 1 we'll call it, is when it's a read-only open of the site where everybody can see with the damage, confirm their balances, blah blah blah, and then presumably the second phase comes, right, where then you'll just allow the full withdrawal. And do you have any estimation of when this next phase comes into play, of when you turn off the read-only and resume trading and resume withdrawals? And will the resumption of trading and withdrawals happen at the same time or on a different timeline?
Okay, so we're planning to have the read-only set up within 24 to 48 hours. And then after that, withdrawals and trading. So to the best of my knowledge and what's been the plan up to right now, has been 3 stages: read-only, withdrawals, trading. We're still working on stage 1, so I don't know if we have the details for what's going to happen for stage 2 and 3, or if they'll be launched together. But up till now, we have planned to do withdrawals first and then trading.
Okay, and so if say somebody has, to give it a little simple toy example of how this, and maybe this is details that you are not knowledgeable on to inform us for, but say I have $1,000 on there. Does that mean that whatever the balance had, whether it was lent out or whatever, this in that currency is what is going to be refunded, or are you going to have like the value of ETC and LTC replacing it, or any kind of crazy, like, is it meant to be that whatever the deposit was in, this is what is to be returned?
I would assume so, but again, I really don't know, because we're going off of, we're going off the prices at 18 UTC from August 2nd to settle everything, and then I don't know how we'll be handling basically the haircut for, if you only have ETC, how we're going to take that, take the ETC and then credit it to whoever. I have no idea how the details on settling all the balances will go. But Phil has been working on the explanation, and we'll have that ready when the site comes up.
All right, and so And regarding your estimated timeline on that, so you said 24-48 for stage 1 of getting the read-only up, and then withdrawal is stage 2. You don't have any idea of the timeline of when that's up after the read-only is up?
No, not right now.
All right, I think that was the main immediate questions. So anybody else out there that at least has the mic access, if you have other kind of questions for Zane after he has this new announcement and everything. Maybe Chris J, go ahead.
Yeah, so Zane, one thing that's sort of come up a little bit is can you say how much of Bitfinex's own private money that the investors have had to put up in order to help with this, mitigate this haircut that the customers have taken?
So we'll have more details on this because it's not just the haircut, there's also the settling of balances and positions, and it's a complete nightmare that we have to on that. And so there's more than just the haircut, but we put all of our, there's no point in, we want to keep Bitfinex running, and so the only way that we can do that is if we put all of our resources into Bitfinex and into making everybody whole, because the longer this drags out, the worse it is for us. So we put everything we can into getting this fixed. That's all I have. I don't have the details of how much of the percentage the haircut got brought down by because of what we put in or anything like that. I don't have details.
Okay, thank you. That's good. Someone else?
But yeah, everybody's saying, oh, you guys haven't lost anything. My money's on Bitfinex. I get my salary every month in Bitfinex. A lot of our employees have money on Bitfinex. We're Bitfinex users. We work for Bitfinex. Of course, we're subject to the haircut, and of course, we're losing money from this. Things aren't all fine and dandy over here. People are like, "Oh, you're running away to an island." That's bullshit.
So to clarify, then there's no sweetheart deals that are being issued to any big customers relative to the smaller ones.
No, I really haven't taken I've taken feedback in, but there hasn't been much consultation. I'd let people know what's going on, but we had to figure out what we could do on the site. There's not much we can do to accommodate certain people.
Hey Zane, it's Vix.
Hey.
So, I guess I don't feel a tremendous amount of sympathy if you're taking your own wages and you're putting it on an exchange. You probably should diversify. But, coming back to what BFX has contributed as far as funds go to offset that percentage, I guess I'm really having a hard time figuring out why you wouldn't include that in the press release, because that seems like a pretty good thing to include, and it would be a number. Because right now, yes, we know the percentage of the haircut, but I think, it's very ambiguous as far as what is BFX actually contributing to offset some of the costs. I do understand BFX needs to remain in operation, but I don't know, it kind of smells a little fishy why that wouldn't have been included right off the bat. Because there's a number you guys can have that is suitable, and it shows a great gesture on your part, but you've either failed to include it, or, the press release wasn't constructed in a way to illustrate that.
Vix, like I said, there's more than just the haircut. So we have to deal with all the settling of balances and positions, and we're gonna be taking that on. There are more details that we can't put out yet, so I don't know what to tell you.
Sounds to me like we'll probably hear more details as time goes on.
I've been trying to post as much information as I can as soon as I get it. We got hacked and lost nearly $70 million, and people are like, we want resolutions within 15 minutes. There's a ton of shit going on. We have a lot of people that we're talking to, exploring a ton of different options. I've been on calls with our team pretty much the entire past 4 days. I don't think any one of us has gotten more than 4 hours of sleep a night.
Zane, we appreciate that. Which authorities are investigating this? American, Italian, or Taiwanese?
I can't release the names of who's investigating, but there are multiple international authorities working with us on this.
Yeah, but how much hope are you how much hope are you really setting on getting the money back? I mean, I think the resource.
Do you mean me personally or the company Bitfinex?
Well, both, let's say, but Finex is more relevant.
Me personally, have funds from a hack ever been recovered?
Not usually, no.
Not that I know of. So, I mean, that's my personal view of it, but the other thing that I think is a very valid point here is that MT Gox, when that happened, there was a lot of confusion over when the money started, when they started getting hacked and when the money started to pour out. There wasn't any, clear details of where the money went, and it was kind of very hard to trace. And at that time, there were companies like Chainalysis and as many blockchain forensics companies. And so right now, we have, especially considering that all the Bitcoin is in independent wallets, we've been able to very clearly trace, where the Bitcoin started and where it is now. And we have way more companies that deal specifically with tracking Bitcoin on the blockchain and basically nullifying the benefits of tumblers. And so I think that we have a lot better chance than any of the companies in the past, and especially considering how much bigger Bitcoin is now. But at the same time, it's still Bitcoin. So it's still very hard.
So at least, do you have some kind of estimation of when the post-mortem, the technical side of things, is going to be out, where we can learn more?
I have no idea.
But I guess you've got team members that must be at least working on it, because there's two sides of it, right? There's the financial, like accounting, settlement, practical side, but then there's also looking back and figuring out exactly where the breach occurred and how it occurred in a purely technical manner. Like, was it the data center migration? Was it?
There are a lot more sides than just those two. So there's people like Phil who are working on settling the balances and positions. Then we also have people like Pop working on getting the site back up in a read-only mode. And there's some other processes that we have to do with getting the site back up that we needed to change on the UI. Then we have people like Giancarlo who are trying to figure out what we can do with investors and kind of trying to let me know as soon as he gets everything up. Then we have counsel going over all of our decisions. But yes, there are people that are looking at what happened with the hack, and if I'm not mistaken, we have a few people that are working specifically on that.
How many team members do you guys have in all, across all?
To be honest, I think it's about 25.
25 in all, okay.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Nomad.
I got a question. How do we know that 36% is equivalent to the 120k BTC lost?
Sorry, can you explain?
So are you going to open up your accounting books? That's my main question. Because I mean, I can just say,
yeah. So you guys don't, if we're not just pulling these numbers out of thin air. I assume so.
I think that would make sense, because it makes sense that everybody wants to avoid bankruptcy. It's bad for everyone, really. But
I think that we were planning on doing. I think from the beginning we've known that we're gonna have to make things pretty clear, because even when we were leaning towards only doing it across BTC balances and then those with USD backing BTC USD positions, then the same question you can ask is, how do I know that my USD that I lent out was in a BTC USD position and not an ETC USD position or an ETH USD position? So I think we know that we're going to have to open stuff up here and try and make all the explanations with as clear detail as possible.
Zane, are you able
to discuss BFX coin yet? Sorry.
I mean, in what regard? We've announced plans that that's one option that looks like we're gonna take, and one thing that we'll do to compensate users. But I don't know what details you're looking for.
Well, is it going to be a security, or is it going to be more like a token that we trade on Polonius?
Right,
or can
yeah,
you rule any of that out? Is there anything you can rule out?
So I don't know. I don't know right now. There's still the other thing that I don't know is if it's back to BTC or USD. That's one thing that I want to find out, but I don't know a lot of the details yet.
That's fair. If there's no details, there's no point in asking these questions just yet. Thanks.
I think you guys should just take all the USD and all the ETC and ETH and just FOMO into BTC.
That multiple police organizations have been informed of this, and that you could not name them. Can you confirm? Can you personally confirm, and can you, as an organization, confirm that there are police actually investigating, actually looking over your shoulder while you put this thing back together?
Let me hold on one second. Let me look.
It's very important for getting the things like the last question about whether the 30 to 6% is correct. You know, we can get a police report, and that will tell us a lot.
Just one second. Let me look.
Yeah, because Zane, I think a lot of people are going to be able to give you a lot more leeway and a lot more time if we just have some confirmation that authorities are involved. It's that simple.
Well, I mean, I think authorities are involved. Yeah. Multiple international authorities too. That's good enough for me.
I'd like to know who they are, if that's at all possible. If it's not, I'd like to know why. But obviously, my heart is with you in this time.
I'm willing to bet Interpol's involved for one.
Okay. I tried to look in my messages, but I mean, as you guys can probably understand, we've had thousands and thousands of messages the past couple of days, so I can't really see what exactly I can say and what I can't say. But yeah, there are multiple. We're working with multiple international agencies.
Yeah, but let's rewind. Let's rewind a little bit here, okay? About all of the representation of the BitGo security as being like more secure than it was. Was it really so that you were able to just sign withdrawals by doing an API call to BitGo, so that BitGo didn't have to do any kind of judgment in passing over and signing a transaction, and then you, with your key, combined with this, then this was basically like you signing it in a hot wallet, in essence, right?
The way it worked is we signed the key. I'm not sure how the communication with BitGo worked. They signed it and then it went out. But man, yeah, I
There's a let me clarify the context, okay? Because about what the expectations of your users were. On your page on the Google Cache from last week, it shows that only 0.5% of user funds are hot wallet exposed.
No, you're going from a user cache that's not from last week. For Bitcoin, we had stated that it's held in user segregated wallets, not in cold storage. If you go to the FAQ, it clearly says that.
Yeah, but why did you do this user segregated storage, dropping the cold wallet security that every single exchange in the world uses in Bitcoin, right? And so you drop that in for user segregated, ostensibly to comply with regulations, maybe, or whatever. But why you did this for Bitcoin, But for the other coins, you didn't have to, even though you're offering the same exact margin product and lending possibilities and stuff for them. Why would you only have to do it for BTC and expose your users to this?
Yeah, by the way, we didn't offer Ethereum or ETC margin trading for US customers. But there were a lot of reasons for why we went with this implementation for BitGo. A big one is transparency. Everybody has their own wallet that they can keep, they can watch on the blockchain, they can see their Bitcoin at any time, and we settle it once a day. So, I think as shitty as it is to say this, considering, everything that happened, one of the big pluses of segregated wallets and the setup was, it was put on display here, which is an exchange could not cover it up. It would be impossible to cover up a theft with the setup that we have, because any user could look at their wallet and go, bullshit, my Bitcoin was withdrawn from my account, you were hacked, and I can see that. So I think that's one thing that is, it sucks that we got hacked, and, I feel like having a system that is great after hacks is, in hindsight, that's not the biggest plus, but nonetheless, we did get to see that that is one advantage to that setup.
Hey, Zane. So, the BitGo segregated wallet and the hack, that was all user coins, correct?
I'm not sure. I only know that there are 119,756 points and some change of Bitcoin withdrawn.
So you're not aware of if any of that amount is a loss to Bitfinex, the company?
I'm pretty damn sure it's a loss to Bitfinex, the company. But I don't know.
But does that...
Because there are other wallets besides just customer wallets.
Does that then imply, though, that Finex's liquid assets also are taking the same haircut as customer liability?
Excuse me?
Okay, the haircut that is being performed on customer deposits, is there also a kind of haircut going on Bitfinex's corporate liquid assets also?
I don't believe, no, the haircut that we use did not apply to, it's not 36% of customer balances and Bitfinex corporate assets.
So Finex, if you guys have, say, like 10,000 coins sitting around, you're not chipping in for helping reduce the social loss for customer deposits?
That's also not what I said. And I really don't know how the breakdown of the socialized losses or of the generalized loss, or whatever term you want to use. I don't know how the breakdown works, what we put in, how much it brings it down, or anything like that.
But why didn't you include the simple fact that Bitfinex was contributing anything to it? I understand you're wanting to break down the details, but why would that not be something first and foremost that you would mention in a PR release that took 15 hours to get approval?
Yeah, Vix, it's not the 15 hours to get approval that's waiting on the PR. There are other things that we need to know have happened or to do before we can put up PRs. And this isn't a PR, it's an announcement. But and I don't know why we didn't put that on there. I never even thought to write that when I was drafting the announcement.
You do agree that is something extremely important, and if you're trying to repair your image and your brand, I would think the first thing you should say is, we're contributing, hopefully
Vix,
a dollar amount and go forward.
If we're bringing people that we owe money on as shareholders, how is that not contributing money?
Well, you're making assumptions, and some people won't see it that way. They want a dollar amount.
What's the assumption?
But you're not. You need to put a dollar amount, and people want to see that contributed and see how that reduces the loss.
You said I'm
not
making
coins,
an
not issuing a bond, because people are forced into that. I mean, you even say there's no waiver. It's basically you're just putting these coins in their account. People are trying to process this right now, and you haven't given them the option. You've just made them accept that bond. So I think from a PR perspective, you should have at least disclosed that you were offering up monetary assets from Bitfinex proper to reduce the socialized loss.
Vix, we've said in that PR that we are going to be bringing on some of the people that lost money as shareholders. How is that not contributing a monetary asset? If you get shares of Bitfinex, if you become part of Bitfinex, that has monetary value.
Because that is not like a debt-settled instrument that's universal. I mean, you don't settle. You know, I don't just go grab my pogs out of my closet and walk over to somebody that I owe $200 and say, here you go, here's this. Well, clearly I'm making a gesture towards you. I mean, that's what we're getting at here. And some people may not want that, especially considering the fallout of what the brand is, experiencing right now. So that's why I don't understand from a PR perspective why you wouldn't go forward and at least offer that out there. Because to me, that would have said a lot, that you guys are actually offering your assets and your funds to reduce that loss, not to go about socializing it through shares and putting it off for years
Vix,
or whatever you're going to do.
Vix, if you really don't believe that Bitfinex is taking on any loss and that's the end of that, that's ridiculous. If
I
you
didn't say
seriously,
they're not taking any loss, but you're not demonstrating it, what you're actually losing, or what you're actually contributing from Bitfinex proper.
because we can't share details on what exactly we're contributing. It'll come out in the following days. All right, that's all I can tell you. If that's not good enough, I'm sorry.
Okay, so you're committing. I mean, you're saying Finex is going to be helping to plug the hole. It's not all going to be pushed on the customers.
Okay. One is that it's not all being pushed onto the customers. All the customers are taking a loss. So yes, it is being pushed onto the customers because, I mean, there's no other way to say that the customer is taking 36% loss isn't being pushed onto the customers. But I'm saying that Bitfinex is not just going, oh, okay, well, you guys got hacked, or we got hacked, you guys lost money, that sucks, ha ha ha, and peace out. We're not getting away scot-free from this. We lost money in this hack. All right, there are no two ways around that. We are putting up resources to cover the losses from this hack.
Well, part of the problem, right, is that you're not a publicly traded company, so all your books and everything, they're all private. We don't have really any idea what your balance sheet looks like. We don't understand what kind of assets, short or longer term, that you have, what kind of other liabilities you have, what kind of other investments in your portfolio of other companies that you have shares in, all this kind of stuff. We don't know. So we're kind of flying blind, and I know that you're saying you're going to release more information over and over, but it's can you tell us something about your financial position, like, and what other things does Finex own, for example?
We have investments in Blockstream, Shapeshift, Netkey, and Tether.
That's it? There's no other kind of companies you have shares in your portfolio?
Those are the four that I know. Those are the four that I know, because those are the four companies that we've invested in since I joined. We were in the seed round of Blockstream. I don't know if Shapeshift did a seed or a Series A, but we were in that. And then I think Netkey just did their seed or their Series A, and we were in that.
All right. So do you have any kind of? I mean, you guys haven't had seed round. What kind of valuation does Finex have based on any kind of estimations, based on any kind of guidance on what your worth is?
No.
Not even a range.
No, I don't.
Anybody else with questions? Now is a good time to ask. I mean, there's still obviously a lot of information that has to come in week, but if there's anything that maybe has been forgotten, try to bring it up now.
Yeah, I was going to ask, CoinPit just asked it as well, do you know what the annual revenue is of Bitfinex?
No, I don't.
Okay.
user information stolen, like email, names, or whatever?
We're still investigating this. If we have any information on if that information was compromised, we will share it.
Hey Zane, do you know if the hacker actually had access to your servers at any point in time, or was the breach completely from outside your servers?
First of all, you're talking to the wrong guy. I really don't know many details about the breach because when they were dealing with that, I mean, as soon as we announced the breach, I had, within like 15 minutes, I had over 1,000 notifications on Twitter and hundreds of messages on Reddit. So right away, I just went to answering stuff and let them deal with the hack. So yeah, you're talking to the wrong guy.
So let me rephrase it. Do you know if the servers on which there was customer information such as their email, possibly their KYC document?
There's no way you can rephrase this because what I'm telling you is I don't know the details of the hack. I know that they didn't go through, it wasn't done through user account, so it wasn't they logged in with username and password. I know that that's not how the attack happened. Besides that, talking to the wrong guy.
So do you know who actually stopped the hack? I mean, you weren't involved in the details, so who actually made changes to the system to stop the hack, and when was the time
We
to
did.
stop the hack?
We did. We brought things down.
Okay, but you said you don't know about the hack, so who was it that actually stopped it?
I know that we noticed it and froze everything.
Okay, so who noticed it? Phil noticed it? Who?
I'm not sure who on the team noticed it. I'd assume it was somebody in Europe since it was quite early Eastern time.
So BitGo has been coming out, at least some representatives from BitGo have been coming out and pushing away responsibility. You've seen some of the statements, that guy Mike, I think, on the blog. Do you have any sort of comment about that they're saying, well, hey, it's not our fault because Bitfinex chose certain settings of their security and we just implement them? Do they have any kind of responsibility, at least in your opinion, or in Bitfinex's opinion, do they have any kind of responsibility for like having minimum standards for not being able to withdraw a certain amount and certain like basic security that should be implemented no matter what kind of parameters you are implementing in your partnership with BitGo?
I would say that our what we expected to happen definitely what our expectations of the system were. It did not handle it like we thought it would.
Does it come down to
the one thing that I keep falling back on, like I can't really say anything for Bitfinex, but for me personally, the one thing that I keep falling back on. 1 second. Alright, it's they have the fraud filters, the BitGo dynamic fraud filters that they posted about. The service is part of the BitGo platform and protects all BitGo API and wallet customers. BitGo will not co-sign requests that appear to be fraudulent and will instead report an error to the user.
So it wasn't this dynamic fraud protection TM was not thinking that it's suspicious to have millions of dollars withdrawn.
That's what I don't understand.
Is Bitfinex requesting BitGo to pitch in funds to cover the losses?
I have no idea. I can't imagine how that conversation would go though.
But so regardless of the parameters that you would implement, so for example, even if somehow you this hacker or maybe someone on the Phoenix team chose to override this any kind of maximum limit, regardless of that, BitGo is supposed to have this dynamic fraud, whatever. It's supposed to still be a backstop in these kinds of cases exactly.
I don't know how the BitGo system like how the fraud filter is supposed to work or anything. I'm just going off of what that post says. I just don't see how 120,000 Bitcoin being withdrawn in a short amount of time would be taken as anything besides fraudulent. I don't understand.
People understand that there's blame to go around. First of all, is whether or not, I mean, there's the government that did the regulations, that was ostensibly why Bitfinex made this terrible change to go away from cold wallet.
Just to comment on that, we made the changes before anything with the CFTC started.
Oh, okay. So that's an interesting fact that you're introducing then. So regardless.
I've said that from the beginning.
But okay, But so then.
Implementation in early 2015, and the CFTC stuff started in fall 20.
Yeah, so that actually, okay, that's good clarification. Okay, it's not new, but it's good clarification you make, because it actually makes it even worse, because you did it even without having any pressure from the government or regulators. You opted out of what's known as a proven security layer of having cold wallet and decided to volunteer to spread this hot wallet BitGo stuff without any government pressure. That's terrible. I don't understand why you guys would do that. So that's why Bitfinex is number one at fault for this, because you made these terrible decisions that weaken security. I mean, BitGo is second probably in line, because they're the ones that you guys trusted and they sold you a snake oil. And probably third is, I don't know what is third, but I mean, this is basically how we are feeling, but we're mostly supportive of the fact that you guys are doing this generalized haircut. So we're basically on board with the way you guys have chosen to clean up the mess. But this is essentially the how we are feeling about all of this.
Yeah, alright.
We appreciate you. Hey, but listen. Okay, let me soften that a bit, because I was a bit harsh. But I just want to say that, you know, we appreciate that you come on. We appreciate that you guys have skin in the game here. You guys aren't just suits that are totally risk-free in this whole thing. You've got money in there that's at risk. So that you're in the same boat as us. It's very much appreciated. It's great. You've been very much open in your communication. That's also quite important, right? So we appreciate those things very much. But the truth of the matter is that, you know, a lot of people are wrecked. So, you know, that's just how we feel about things. And yeah.
By the way, I don't think you guys saying that we're to blame, or whoever is to blame, that's not being harsh. That's being realistic. That this is a hack that happened to our company, and we lost $70 million. I mean, that's the reality of it. So,
It seems like there's a lot of questions that are going to be left unanswered just from this communication, just because the details can't be released yet. Would you be okay with doing like a hangout with like yourself, Paulo, and PGP?
Hold on, I want to clarify something else. You guys keep because the details can't be released yet. That's also not entirely true, because a lot of the details they're not there yet. We just had a $70 million, 120,000 Bitcoin hack. There's a lot of things that we have to do, and we're trying to get everything done as quick as we can. But I mean, it takes time.
Okay, pardon my phrasing then. I guess what I'm asking is, would like yourself, Paulo, like PGP or somebody be willing to do like a hangout with a limited audience to answer these questions?
That's what he's doing right now.
Yeah, but there's serious detail not known yet. That's why I'm asking if there can be a follow-up.
I can't say if Paulo or Phil's going to do anything. I haven't talked to them. I'll have to ask if they want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it would be, to echo Nomad's sentiment, it would be nice to have sort of like an open press conference. We could host it here, frankly, and guys on, and we can just close it a little bit so there's no sort of disruptions, and have a nice civil back and forth so that we can answer and clean up all the corners of it. I mean, once all the details are able to be released, right?
I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, once everything's settled, we have all the details, come out and talk and explain a little bit more in depth how everything was done.
So, Zane, two questions. Did hackers steal any personal information from the server?
This has already been asked. That's just a repeat. No, he doesn't know.
Question, can you say where the token will be traded, or are there any confirmed exchanges already or stuff like that?
We're still working on details for the token. We don't have, we haven't finalized anything for the token yet.
Zane, you probably need to figure out what the annual revenue is and let us know, because then, only then, this token issuance will have any sort of legitimacy or value.
Yeah, people.
I'd like to be able to trade it on CoinPit.
Yeah, people might actually be willing to buy into it if there's proper information given, a nice plan going forward. Like, we've got people here who, as soon as the idea was even floated, were interested to buy. So like, a lot of money out there that might be interested to get into it.
Yeah, we've been talking to everybody and getting feedback from a lot of users.
Yeah, I mean, but as Barat from CoinPit mentions, like, we need actual information about what's going on over there, so we know what the hell to evaluate it for.
I'm sure we'll have more information as we come out with the CFX token. Sorry, can you clarify what you're asking?
How legitimate is your solution of a haircut to every user in, I don't know, different law areas all over the world?
Let me preface this with I'm definitely not a lawyer, but hold on one second.
Part of the benefit of incorporating it.
Was the question about if people will be getting BTC back or USD equivalent?
So the way that we came about handling the haircut was based on how it'd be handled in a liquidation context, and so that's what we worked with counsel on drafting, and that's a large part of why we came to that decision.
Are you aware that there will be tons of lawsuits from different areas all over the world, and if yes, how do you want to handle it?
Sorry, can you say that again?
People will make lawsuits against you, right? So
I assume so.
Are you preparing any solution to deal with that?
Yes.
Any details?
I mean, we have counsel and we're working. I mean, they're aware of what's happening, and that's some of that.
So can you reiterate your corporate structure? Like you're based in you're incorporated. This iFinex Corporation is incorporated in British Virgin Island, right? And then what's the relationship to Hong Kong and Taiwan? What's the difference here?
We're registered in Hong Kong, and we have banks in Taiwan.
So can the Hong Kong financial authority just come in and then you get an injunction and freeze all your accounts or some shit? Or like, how are you going to protect against that? And like, is that then legit to issue a shitcoin in order to fill the hole? Is there like some counsel really prove that?
You're talking to the wrong guy. I really don't know how the legal status in Hong Kong comes into play with this.
Hey, do we have a timeline on withdrawals?
No.
Yeah, I think when we do that press conference with all the Finex guys, maybe the counsel, I forgot his name, but that guy, yeah, he could come on also, because that would be the most. I don't know if a lawyer would really approve that kind of thing, but where you're from and all that, and this, let me clarify that I think everybody wants this essentially. I mean, there's a few butthurt people, but everyone understands that the slow motion version of you guys just getting an injunction, are no longer in business, bankrupt, and then it's just a slow motion haircut, really. So you may as well do it nice and swift without paying all the lawyers and shit. But still, the solution that people are concerned that the implementation just won't stand up to legal scrutiny in the courts, and maybe that will lead to more problems down the line.
I don't know. I'm not too well versed in the legal matters, so I trust our counsel on this, and yeah.
All right.
But I'm gonna head off. I'm gonna try and get some food.
Yeah, there's no problem. I mean, yeah, there's basically everything's getting repeated anyway in the question, so we appreciate you answering what you could. And yeah, stick around though, and next time you're hearing things, like we are always here trading, and Phil and Giancarlo have always been quite active here until recent days. But so it's nice to have you here, and you should stay active here, because everybody here is like, there's literally millions of dollars worth of creditors here at Phoenix, so we are all heavily invested, and we would love for you to stick around.
Yeah, thanks, Zane.
I was here at the beginning, I will remind you. At the very beginning.
And then you haven't been around in forever, so come back.
Well, that's because you guys kept changing all these names and stuff, so I'd go to log in, and then it's like, that server's not there anymore, and...
This one will stay with us, don't worry.
Alright, then I can work with that.
Zane, before you leave, one last question. Will you offer free withdrawals after withdrawals are enabled?
So, will we offer free withdrawals?
Yeah, you have banked costs and so. Would you offer free?
Oh, on